I have 9:30. I hereby call this meeting to order. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we'll observe a moment of silence. Thank you. I want to welcome everybody today to the budget presentation for fiscal year 26. Thank you for coming. That joke never gets old. We'll start with presentation of the 4th of July parade winners. I hope we have those photos lined up. I want to say I've lived in Peachtree City for 26 years, and honestly, I think this year's events were the best that we've ever seen. From the parade in the morning with an amazing band. We had incredible fireworks with a DJ and truly a community gathering at night. I just want you to join me in thanking everyone on our wonderful staff who made this year's festivities possible. Let's hear it. The band, we had a band and a drum line, and it was awesome. So it is my absolute pleasure to welcome to the podium, first of all, the Spirit of Peachtree City 2025, Captain O'Brien and the Peachtree City Pirates.
All right. Oh, thank you so much. That is a beautiful trophy. Thank you, everyone. I was actually not expecting to win a second time in a row, so this is really cool. Unfortunately, none of the other Pirates could make it because of it being so early in the morning. Pirates don't like getting up early. So I didn't wear the T-shirt. I wore my work uniform as is where I will be heading next. So just like to say that we've been doing this for about 3 years now, and this wasn't just a fun thing just to get people to get together and get drunk and dress like pirates, which is fun, yes, but also as a way to help other businesses in town get noticed, because every time people come out to one of our events, they go to a venue they've never even seen or heard of before and go, oh wow, this is a really nice place, we should go here more often, and then they start to make money. And then also as just a way to say that, not all the cool stuff has to be on the north side of Atlanta. We can do cool stuff here in Peachtree City as well. And so for anyone who likes dressing up like pirates and singing sea shanties, I'd like to cordially invite you to our next Peachtree City Pirate Plunder on Saturday, August 16th. That'll be starting at 4 p.m. right out there on Lake Peachtree. This used to be an all-day thing. We've shortened it and started later in the day because people get tired, people drink too much, it gets hot outside, people want to go home. And then Big Daddy's Oyster Bar, they've been a little skeptical about doing another one of these things because they just want to make sure that there's high attendance. So please tell all your friends, tell all your family, hey, come on out, let's have a good time. If you're 21 and up, sorry kids. You can join us at the lake though. That is family friendly. You don't have to be 21 to go to a lake and have a good time. But thank you so much. It is an honor to receive this award, and I hope to see you all again at next year's parade. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. Our next award is Most Patriotic, and that goes to Salon 54. Is Salon 54 here this week? Congratulations. Well done. Would you like to say a few words? Maybe like two. Okay.
Good morning. My name is Amber Dale. I'm the owner of Salon 54. This is my coworker Rachel, who is the brains behind our float. And actually, last year was the first year our salon participated because she asked if we could. But I can't take any credit for the float because it was all her creativity. And I just wanted to mention too that something that we like to do different with the float was instead of throwing candy at the kids, was pass out coupons for hair services with hair ties connected to all the mamas who are sitting out there with their hair down and sweating to death in the parade. But we've been in business for 28 years, and we appreciate the community's support and being able to be recognized in this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Next award we have is the most creative, and it went to Friends of Flat Creek Floyd. Come on up.
I saw it.
We just want to thank Flat Creek Floyd for continuing to bring this community together from beyond the grave. It was an honor to work on this float.
Next, we have the Mayor's Trophy, and the award goes to McDaddy and Son. Congratulations. Thank you. Very, very creative and innovative. Congratulations. Would you like to say a few words?
Yes. So first of all, I want to thank Peachtree City for being so supportive of McDaddy and Son. We are kind of a family affair band. We do kind of piano rock stuff, and we've been very fortunate. Peachtree City really supported us over the past year and a half or so that we've been together. We have our momager, the momager right here, and then my son and I play music together. We, like Brian said, we weren't expecting to win a second time in a row, but we really appreciate you. Thank you very much. And a shameless plug, we are playing tomorrow night at Tavern 74.
And I am very excited to present the Grand Marshal Trophy to the Peachtree City Running Club. Come on up, let's hear it. Who's going to speak? I do it.
I like to talk. I'm Shelly Collins. I'm the race director for the Peachtree City Classic. Evan here is the current president. This is the first year we've ever done this because we're always running the Peachtree Road Race. But a select few of us decided to stay back and create Gloria, our new unofficial mascot. So thank you guys for just putting on an awesome show. I love Peachtree City. I can't wait to do the parade next year. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thanks very much. Well done. Well done. Way to go. Let's hear it one more time for all of these award winners.
And that's fine. Okay.
Bye, guys. Bye. Our next order of business is an announcement for a life-saving award recognition. I'd like to call to the podium Chief Murphy. And Kevin Baggett.
Will Hartman. Good morning, Mayor, Council. Thank you for allowing us to recognize some of our best department members today. So today we are proud to recognize the crew of Station 83 A Shift for their heroic and life-saving actions during a residential structure fire on April 7th, 2025. The crew responded swiftly to a reported structure fire, arriving within minutes. Without hesitation, they went to work deploying a hose line and entering the burning home. The 911 caller did not report the house to be occupied, but the crew did what they are trained to do and conducted a rapid primary search for victims. As they searched the home, they quickly found a disabled occupant inside the structure. As they were removing the victim from the house, they encountered many obstacles. However, they were able to quickly remove the victim from this life-threatening situation and provide medical care. Their actions saved this person's life. This incident also highlights the inherent risks associated with our profession. During the operations, one member of the crew was injured. The team responded professionally and with composure, providing immediate medical aid to their colleague. They quickly regrouped and returned to the task at hand, helping to extinguish the fire and protect the adjacent homes from damage. The courage, skill, and dedication demonstrated by Station 83's A Shift crew reflect the highest standards of service and embody the core values of our department. We commend their bravery and extend our deepest appreciation for their actions that day. All right, we have several of the members of the crew here. Two of them are not able to be here. I'll go ahead and announce them. Firefighter AEMT Brian McKenzie and Firefighter EMT Jason Boswell are not here with us. So the ones that are here, let's call you down individually. Recruit Firefighter Angela Nanticle. Firefighter Paramedic Jennifer Griffin. And the leader of this crew, Lieutenant Robert Hardaway. Being presented with the Life Saving Award and the pin for their Class A uniforms. Let's give it up one more time for ABT. You got photos?
Thank you, that's amazing. The photos are shocking. It's easy to forget what they go through just to address one house fire one time. Thank you. Do we have any public comment?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we have two. The first person to speak is Mr. Darrell Baker.
I'm going to try to make this brief. My name's Darrell Baker, 100 World Drive, Suite 105, Peachtree City, Georgia. Mayor and Council, some of you know me and some of you don't. I've been before this board numerous times over my career here in Peachtree City. I'm a principal and partner in Randolph Williams Commercial Real Estate based at 100 World Drive here in Peachtree City. Before that, our office was in the 900 West Park building for many, many years. Randolph Williams is the current company that was originally Group 6, then Randolph Williamson, and now Randolph Williams. Different partners, yet the same full-service commercial real estate firm committed to the same goals. We have our fingerprints all across this community. The company was originally founded here in 1989, over 36 years ago. Our best guess is the firm has been involved in over 6,000 real estate transactions valued at close to $600 million. My two partners, Brent Randolph and Brian Williams, are both Peachtree City residents. Brent for 32 years and Brian for 26 years. Even though I grew up in Fayetteville and live in Brooks, from middle school on, I spent my summers at the Flat Creek Pool and running along the Parkway, Gulfview Drive, and all through the neighborhoods. My friends were from all here in Peachtree City. Families, old Peachtree City families like the Tyndalls, the Fradys, the Routons, the neighbors, the Davises, the Ballards, the Reeds, the Selmers, and the Cowans, just to name a few. I remember when Peachtree City was the dream of men like Mr. Cowan, and when Willow Bend was the newest shopping center in town. We had friends whose families worked at High Brand Foods. I remember High Brand Foods sitting where the avenue sits now. I say that to say my partners and I bought into that dream and have continued to base our business and lives here. As a result, I would like to share with you, my elected officials, a frustration with you personally I'm having today. As a partner in Randolph Williams, I handle consulting services for new and existing businesses in and out of this area that want to locate to the surrounding areas, including Peachtree City. Currently, I'm working with 5 businesses that would like to be in Peachtree City that aren't currently here now. 1 retailer, 3 restaurants, and the Aberdeen project, which I'm sure you're hearing about again behind the scenes. Several months ago, I reached out to the city attorney and requested a meeting to discuss a project by a group from Atlanta. They wanted my help in an effort to receive entitlement for a project that had been previously considered and voting on by the Planning Commission, recommending denial to council. I had a conversation with my local Peachtree city attorney about the project, and he agreed with me that Ted was the starting point. Ted called me and I requested the meeting, but he politely declined and said that he would be read in when appropriate. I told him we would be starting with the city manager and community development staff and then request additional meetings as we saw fit. We have met with the city manager, assistant city manager, city economic development director, and community development director, and they were extremely helpful with regards to process and provided great input and provided us with some very important technical information. They're awesome. We deal with the staff on a regular basis on a number of projects, and staff is awesome. They always have been, always will be.
Thank you.
So I will send the balance of my contacts to each of you in an email, and I'd like to hopefully hear from you guys in the future.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Next person to speak is Mr. Keith Larson.
Good morning, Mayor, City Council members, staff, and residents. My name's Keith Larson. I live in Sandown Creek in Peachtree City. And this morning, my topic is about city ratings. In June, People for Bikes, a national bicycle advocacy, reported out on their 2025 city ratings. This is an evaluation now of 2,500 cities and communities in the United States on the rating of a cyclist to go from their home to destinations in your community in a stress-free manner. So that means traveling on low-speed neighborhood streets and bike lanes and paths. Now, what it means to Peachtree City is when we talk about bicycle lanes and paths, we're really talking the path system, which is a multi-use micro-mobility means of transportation enjoyed by all our residents. When people ask, hey, Peachtree City, isn't that place with all those golf carts? I said, yeah, Peachtree City is a city of over 12,000 golf carts, but over 25,000 bicycles, and every one of our 28 or 38,000 residents is a pedestrian. So when we look at this rating, it really tells us how well we're doing overall for all of our residents, no matter how they may use the pass system. So Peachtree City, when we started the city rating program by People for Bikes, it received a score of 20 in 2019. So this year, we're happy to report that Peachtree City reached the magic number of 50, being the second highest rated community in the state of Georgia, the top 5 in the southern region. Only 9% of communities evaluated in this program have a score of 50 or higher. This is all due to the success of our residents supporting the SPLOS program. That's where our connectivity is happening, because we're being able to build bridges, new path segments, and so I encourage the city staff, council, and residents to continue to support those programs and make it our community a great place to continue to reach all our destinations. Some highlight projects being finished this summer. Fayette County says on time, the Stars Mill connecting tunnel on the south side will be open for school season. So that's a huge win for our south side residents. And as we move forward with the bridge connection between the east side Mac High School and Booth Middle School, and the path along Highway 54 from Publix East to Robinson Road, these are great connection projects that will help to bring all of our residents together. So thank you very much for that support, and I look forward to the future of Peachtree City.
Thank you.
That's all the comments.
All right, agenda changes, council?
None.
No. Minutes, June 19th, 2025, city council meeting minutes.
I make a
Madam Mayor.
motion. Oh, go ahead.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the minutes of June 19th, 2025.
A second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda, we have none. Old agenda items, we have none. New agenda item, PD security trailer. Chief Moon.
Good morning, Mayor and Council.
Good morning.
This morning, we're coming to you to ask for approval for project number 15 out of the 2023 SPLOST, which is for a PD security trailer. Staff has conducted a comprehensive review of available manufacturers and models of mobile security trailers designed for monitoring key areas and supporting public safety operations. Two primary components of these units are security cameras and the trailer platform. After thorough investigation, staff has determined that Verdaka security systems cameras provide the necessary performance, advanced video analytics, and user-friendly video management system required for our operational needs and budget. Verdaka does not sell directly to customers, but partners with Allscan Incorporated, an Atlanta-based company servicing the Southeast since 1981 for system configuration and delivery. Allscan Incorporated is the designated partner for Verdaka camera projects in the state of Georgia. This purchase was included in the 2023 SPLOS project. As I stated, it was project number 15, and the cost is $44,684.60.
Council, any questions? Can I get a motion?
I'll spread it around.
All right, I'm sorry. I don't have the number in
I
front
can
of
do
me.
it real quick.
Go ahead.
I move that we approve new agenda item 072501 PD security trailer for the amount of $44,684.60.
Can I get a
Second.
second? I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much. New agenda item 72502, resolution supporting amicus brief in Chang versus Milton certiorari appeal. Ted Meeker.
Good morning. In short, the city of Milton is looking for us to be able to sign off on an amicus brief that's going to be filed in the Georgia Supreme Court. They're asking a number of cities and counties to do exactly that. The Milton case, I don't know if you want me to get into the weeds on this too far, but in short, it has to do with a planter that was within the right-of-way limits of the road, not adjacent to the road. Tragic accident, a young student home from college, no signs of any drinking, alcohol, or anything, but the suspicion is there was an animal that may have gotten into his path. He swerved, went off the road, and ultimately died. Resulted in a very large $30 million verdict in Fulton County Court. The case itself sort of ran contrary to a number of established cases about city and county liability for right-of-way obligations and maintenance. It's given me a lot of pause just because I think if it stands that it's going to fundamentally change what can be within a right-of-way. I think it's gonna have potential impact on utilities. I joked that in '96, when the Telecom Act came into play, I started noticing how many cell towers there were and that sort of thing. Since this case came out, I've been really looking at what all is in the city's right-of-way, not just here, but everywhere. So the Supreme Court granted certiorari, which you don't get to automatically appeal it, but there's been a trial court decision, the Court of Appeals affirmed it. Supreme Court said, okay, we'll take the case, and they had 4 questions, and clearly they're at least asking the right questions. It's the first time some of the issues that the city's been arguing throughout the case. Ultimately, they're looking for us to adopt the resolution, but the bigger part is it would allow me to sign off as city attorney for Peachtree City on the amicus brief.
Council, questions?
Are we voting on this today?
We will. In a moment, I'll have Ted form the motion in a minute. Do you have any questions?
I know about the case.
This is all about tort reform. Is that correct? It's
Not
about,
really, no.
not necessarily tort
This is more
reform?
of an isolated, it's a bigger issue. I mean, it's not bigger than tort reform, but in terms of establishing what the limitations are on municipalities being held liable.
Would this mean that the municipalities throughout the state would then get the same deference that counties get when it comes to these type of cases?
In essence, yes.
That's what I thought. Okay,
All right.
that's a good thing.
Would you like to form the motion for us?
Just make a motion to adopt the resolution as presented.
Second.
How about a so moved?
So moved.
So moved, sorry.
They're not letting-
I'm ready
they're
to
not letting
second it.
me make motions yet.
That's right.
Can I get a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. New agenda item 72503, Architectural and Construction Management Services, RFP. Dave Borkowski.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. Dave Borkowski, City Engineer. We are asking for approval this morning to award a contract for architectural and construction management services to a firm called Goodwin, Mills and Kaywood. This is especially in light of our design progressing forward for the new Fire Station 85. We sent out RFP for professional services for architectural services. We received 8 proposals on this, so we got very, very good response. We went through our normal staff committee member review of the qualifications in the proposal and scored them. We shortlisted the top 3 firms, and the committee met again and discussed the proposals and reached a unanimous decision to recommend this firm for architectural services. The budget impact, basically, if this is approved, it'll follow the usual procedure of getting task orders from the firm for individual services that we would request, and it would follow the normal approval process for those proposals as far as the dollar limits and everything, and getting approval. So our recommendation is to award contract to this firm. Were there any questions?
What's the value?
There is no cap value in the contract. We
This
can
is-
add a cap value.
Well, it's for architectural on call, like it's
So
for.
it's an on-call and it's
Yes.
pay as you go?
It's for, yes, we did it,
Multiple things through the year.
yes, like
Okay.
we've already had this in place, but we just rebid it out this year. And it's for whenever we need architectural services, we would use this firm because we've already RFP'd it out. If the amount they would charge us for something we need is over a certain threshold that has to come to council, then it would come back.
So the name of the firm is Goodwin et al., basically?
GMC.
GMC?
Goodwin, Mills, Kaywood.
GMC, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Have we worked with them before?
No.
Okay, all right. Can I get a motion?
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion on to approve item number 072503, Architectural and Construction Management Services to GMC.
Yes.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
New agenda item 72504, Kedron Bridge guardrail replacement.
Yes, this second item that we're asking for council approval on is the replacement of the guardrail at Kedron Bridge. As you probably recall, there was an accident out there where a vehicle basically destroyed the guardrail at the end of the bridge on North Peachtree Parkway that goes over Lake Kedron. And after that happened, we immediately jumped on design of the new guardrail to replace the one that was destroyed. We had the design completed and put it out to bid. We received 2 bids, the low bid being from Piedmont Paving for $139,668.72. The staff reviewed the bid and they meet all the requirements. Therefore, we're recommending the low bidder on this, and we have worked with Piedmont Paving before on various projects, so we are comfortable with them, and there is adequate funding available in the bridge maintenance account to cover this. Therefore, we're recommending awarding this contract to Piedmont Paving. Were there any questions on this?
I just have one question. It's not typical that we see 2 bids so vastly different. I mean, the second one is almost twice the first one. Is there, I mean, clearly we're gonna go with the low bidder, but is there any idea why they came in so high?
Some of their unit prices were significantly higher on some of the items. I just would imagine that it's their overhead and things like that, profit.
Okay. Is there no insurance coverage on this?
There is.
We're going to discuss that in executive session.
Thank you. All right. Can I get a motion?
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve item 072504 Kedron Bridge guardrail replacement and award the contract to Piedmont Paving in the amount of $139,668.72.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
New agenda item 72505, fiscal year 2025 budget amendment and acceptance of donations toward green space trail improvements. Jonathan Miller.
Good morning,
Good
Mayor and
morning.
Council. The South Side Cycling Club is actually proposing to donate $2,000 for a bike repair stand. In addition, they would like to donate in-kind materials for trail upgrades and volunteer work for the natural trails we have at the Pack and the Gin Branch green space area. So we're asking for council to approve the attached budget amendment for the $2,000 since it will increase revenues and expenditures, and also accept the volunteer work and in-kind materials for the upgrades. Some of the upgrades will include information kiosks, trail markings, things like that to upgrade the trails.
All right. Questions, council?
Yeah, I have one. The $2,000 is going to go toward which part of the upgrades?
The bike repair stand.
Bike repair
the
stand.
in-kind materials.
As
for
you
the
pictured in the attached,
Right,
okay.
attached to it.
Okay, just making sure.
All right. Can I get a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve agenda item 072507 fiscal year 2025 budget amendment and acceptance of donation toward green space trail improvements.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Public hearing, 72506, annual zoning map and zoning ordinance adoption. Ted, can you, we have a protocol, sure.
When the public hearing is open, members of council become hearers. No action on their part is in order until the mayor declares the hearing complete. First, city staff will present the request and provide an assessment of compliance with city code. The mayor will then allow up to 10 minutes for speakers on each side of the issue to present evidence. No individual member of the public will be given more than 5 minutes to speak. Time limits may only be extended by a majority vote of council and will be divided equally between those supporting and those opposing the issue. 2, the mayor will recognize the applicant and those supporting the issue to present evidence. Remarks will be limited to a total of 10 minutes. 3, the mayor will then recognize those opposing the issue to present evidence for up to 10 minutes. Prior to closing the public hearing, city staff and the public will be given the opportunity to ask questions of either or both sides of the issue. When the mayor and council are assured that the presentation of evidence is complete, the public hearing shall be ended and council may then debate the issue and render a decision. All speakers from the public are asked to follow these rules. Please wait to be recognized by the mayor. Come to the microphone and state your name and neighborhood prior to making remarks. Keep individual remarks under 5 minutes and do not repeat comments. Address all comments to the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll lead off on this one. I don't think Shayla will throw anything at me for doing that, but this is more of a housekeeping best practices matter more than anything else. Going around the state representing various jurisdictions and zoning matters, I was amazed at how many times you would see a zoning map on a wall and it would have a great city clerk signature and a seal, and it would have been 12 years ago. And it started giving me pause about that, and at the time I came back and I spoke with Robin Caillou about it and decided that one of the things we could do is at least have a fixed point in time, whether it's every 12 months or every 24 months or 18 months or some interval, where we actually advertise a readoption of our zoning map. It goes through the public hearing process to the planning commission, to the council, and then we can certify that on that date we had a properly adopted map. We have one now that's signed and dated behind the screen. It's just, again, best practices for us to be able to do it. We don't go in and change anything. It's not like we have snuck in a new commercial zoning somewhere or any other type of zoning along the way. But it does reflect any changes that have occurred since the last time we adopted a zoning map. So that's why we do this, try to do it every so often, to make sure we have something that if we ever get a challenge, I can point to, here's our ad, here's our ordinance, here's our adoption, and here's the city clerk, and we have a approved zoning map.
Okay.
Because the alternative is proper, I'm sorry, Clint.
No, go ahead.
Is that we have property that's not reflected as zoned, and now we have unzoned property, and next thing you know, everybody's going, how did that happen?
When was the last time we did this?
It's a good
1
question.
year ago.
Yeah.
Last year, okay.
Last year?
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Shayla? Nothing to add. All right, with that, I will open the public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor? Seeing none, is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I hereby close the public hearing. Council, any questions or discussion?
No, I reviewed it and looked at what I thought should have been added, and it was added, so I'm good.
All right.
I scrutinized it also just to make sure it was what I remembered, and it appeared that there were no snuck-in changes, as you say, and it seems to be appropriate.
All right, can I get a motion?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the annual zoning map and zoning ordinance adoption on 07/25/06.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Public hearing, 7/25/07, new alcohol license, Sing's Cafe Indian Cuisine.
Okay, I'll read the protocol for non-zoning matters. When the public hearing is open, members of council become hearers. No action on their part is in order until the mayor declares the hearing complete. First, city staff will present the item. The mayor will then allow a total of 10 minutes for members of the public to comment. No individual member of the public will be given more than 5 minutes to speak. Time limits may only be extended by a majority vote of council. Prior to closing the public hearing, city staff and the public will be given the opportunity to ask questions. When the mayor is assured that input is complete, the public hearing shall be ended and council may then debate the issue and render a decision. All speakers from the public are asked to follow these rules. Please wait to be recognized by the mayor. Come to the microphone and state your name and neighborhood prior to making remarks. Keep individual remarks under 5 minutes, and please do not repeat others' comments. Address all comments to the mayor. Thank you. Okay, I'll take this one. Sing's Cafe Indian Cuisine has come forth. They are going to be occupying the location that was previously occupied by Charm Thai down at up at the Kedron Shopping Center. And the location and Mr. Singh have met all the requirements to hold an alcohol license.
All right. With that, I will open the public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Hearing none, I hereby close the public hearing. Council? Discussion?
I have no problem.
I'll take a motion.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we approve agenda item number 072507, new alcohol license for Sing's Cafe Indian Cuisine located at 1009 North Peachtree Parkway.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Public hearing, 72508, fiscal year 26, manager's proposed budget. Justin Strickland.
No protocol. You already read it? Thank you, Mayor. So this is why everybody's here, right? What the mayor said this morning?
That's right.
Earlier this morning was the.
We lost a couple.
Yeah, we lost a good many in the room. So just a little recap. On June 5th of last month, myself and our finance team and Chris, our assistant manager, went through the FY26 proposed budget with you all. Since then, I've talked with all four of y'all. Y'all have had time to review the document ad nauseum. And so there's been a few things we've talked about, so there will be a few changes that we're proposing that you'll see in here. I was asked the question of new pages and all that for y'all's books. That will be, we really wanted to wait until we get through this meeting today and see where we are, and then go ahead and start making those changes after this meeting. So just to review, and I'm going to try to go faster than we did June 5th, but I do have slides. Just to review our vision and values, our vision adopted a few years ago is uncompromised excellence. So, for me as a manager and then for our staff all the way down, we try to, every decision we make, everything we do, we try to think about, is this uncompromised excellence? Is what we're doing uncompromised excellence for our residents, for our city? And then we have our 6 values that spell out paths that tie back into that. We also have our strategic 5 pillars that you all had a consensus on at one of our retreats: a safe, family-friendly community, an active, healthy community, an attractive community, a thriving, resilient business community, and a city organization that is innovative, high-performing, and sustainable. So when we talk about our budget documents and things we do as a staff and what we prioritize and try to propose to you all as council, should tie back into these 5 pillars for our community. And lastly, for these intro slides, I have our budget policy here. And, up there in bold is the top priority of maintaining existing service levels in all divisions and departments. So every time we go into the budget, the baseline, the base thing we need to do as a staff is make sure we're maintaining our existing service levels to our citizens, unless told otherwise by you all, our elected officials. And that means that for anything we add, then we need to have some kind of funding to add it. Anything we subtract or anything we add to, if we don't have the funding for it, then we have to cut somewhere else. So the budget needs to balance as per state law. And then we have our 4 M's that we consider when we do the budget as well: manpower, money, machines, and materials, because everything we do requires at least one of these things, pretty much all of them, at some point when we're doing things. So to get into the general fund, the changes that we're talking about are not actually changing the bottom line of the general fund, just moving some things around. So this chart is actually, let me change this. This chart is actually the same as the June meeting, where we're projecting total revenues of 58.4, appropriations of 58.4 for a pretty much net zero of use of reserves. And then you see that for our original budget of 2025, we projected to use about 71,000 of reserves. Now we're projecting we're going to put in about 750,000, but there's also some things we know that may be coming up near the end of this fiscal year that may drive that number down. And going back, I want to point out too that the percent change over last year, over the original budget, is 2.8. Over our amended budget, really for expenditures, is 2.7. Over our amended budget this year, it actually is a decrease in the budget. Little review of our millage rate over the past decade or so. Over the past 13 years, the city has reduced the millage by 1.195 mils. 7.178 was in 2012 during the height of the recession from a government standpoint, with property values rose up to 7.178. Since then, we've been able to get it down to 5.983. The big thing with this year's budget is the impact of HB 581, which we talked about ad nauseum last year and part of early this year. I'll just review it a little again one more time. But HB 581 provides a statewide floating homestead exemption for all homesteaders. So it controls how much the value of a home can increase annually. Oops. Basically, if you are a homeowner in Fayette County and you've already registered for a homestead exemption with the county tax commissioner's office, then you already get this automatically. You don't have to go back and do anything else. But it is basically caps the rate that property taxes can increase for homeowners by the rate of inflation. That actually takes effect for us in fiscal year 27. This year, for fiscal year 26, all homesteads are frozen with HB 581. So if you are a homesteader, you have a homestead exemption in Fayette County, even if the millage rate stays the same, your taxes are frozen for fiscal year 25. The only increases we should see in revenue if the millage rate stays the same is commercial and industrial and non-homesteaded residential. So this is basically an overview of our revenues and where they come from. About 45% of our revenues come from ad valorem property taxes, 22% from our local option sales tax, and then you see other taxes as well here. And then when we get into fines and forfeitures, licenses and permits, charges for services, they do make part of our revenue, but a majority does come from our taxes. Now getting into the expense side of it, and if you notice here too, some of these slides are the same from the 5th, pretty much all of them, but anything in the blue here is changes that are being proposed. So 2% COLA, we're still proposing that. Technology cost, we just wanted to highlight this, that they've held steady at a good increase of 2%. The past 2 years, our IT costs were up 30% both years, so about 60%. Do you keep doing that, Jasmine? I'm not clicking it. So over the past 2 years, our IT technology costs have increased by 60%, and that's, over $1 million of our budget is IT costs. So when you talk 60% increase over 2 years, that's a significant increase in technology costs. And technology is not just hardware; we're talking software, all that stuff. And part of that is because of the inflation we've seen throughout the whole economy. But luckily, that has slowed down significantly. Some highlights of what we're proposing in this budget is 3 new firefighter positions, which we have talked about for the past 2 years for the new Station 85. 3 police reclassifications. This is not adding headcount, it's just reclassifying some positions within the police department. One of the new things we're proposing from June is 1 new public works equipment operator. This would be to run our street sweeper on a full-time basis. And then expanded hours for path and park enforcement officers, and add more part-time positions to that within code enforcement. So we actually have more officers out on our path system patrolling. So having basically the idea, and this is just an idea at this point, but the idea is to have someone covering the north side of the path system, middle of the path system here in this area, and then south side of the path system. Pretty much for, I think is it 10 hours a day, Shayla, that we patrol? 10 hours a day, and during our peak times. A couple of other points with the budget is we still are seeing an ongoing competition for labor. We're still seeing labor costs increase more than they have pre-COVID. We're seeing increases in utility costs, especially electricity. We're having to budget over $100,000 more this year for electricity costs. But we are seeing decreases in fuel costs and gasoline and diesel. So our expenditures, and this is by division, you can see we always talk about the big four. You've got fire here is our highest expenditure department. Police is a close second, trying to catch up with them, right, Chief Moon? And of course, these are always going to be your highest expenditure departments, pretty much in any city or county that do these, because they are 24/7, 365 operations where we have to have it staffed. We have to have both these departments staffed every single day, every hour of every day. Then you have Public Works and Recreation as the other 3 and 4 of our big 4 departments that are our outward-facing service divisions with paving streets, paving our paths, mowing our grass, and keeping our recreation facilities, courts, and fields in tip-top shape, and playgrounds, and pools. And then you have all the other departments here, which make up the rest of, and I'll actually give you, I've got the percentages here. I actually wanted to read my notes while I went through this, and I haven't been doing it. Yeah, so 70% of our budget is police, fire, recreation, and public works. So that just shows, see? Oh, I bet it's my paper touching the screen. I bet that's what it is.
Oh, click on the one you need.
Yeah,
Bring
Jazz,
that up.
go back to where we were, Jasmine. Here, I'll click forward. Sorry, I bet it's this paper touching the screen, maybe. So yeah, our big 4 departments, which are our big service departments, outward facing, serving our citizens every single day, make up 70% of our budget. Then we also have the library, which is an outward facing department, not up there with the big 4, but there are other outward facing departments even in the smaller departments here. But a good much of it is support services as well, finance, human resources, those kind of things. Oh, now I've lost the clickability. Oh, okay. All right, and this is another way to just break down our expenditures. Instead of by department, this is by actual category. So if you look at salaries and other personnel costs, which is healthcare, pension, all of our FICA, Social Security, all that stuff that goes into other personnel costs beyond just salaries, about 63% of our costs as a city is our people. And that is because we are a service organization. You go back to police, fire, public works, recreation, everything we do there is having our people to provide those things to our citizens and get those things done. Then you see contractual services here. And then you've got our operating supplies. And I will note, I don't have the graph here, but I do have a graph that shows, over the years, our services line, our supply line, and then our personnel line. Our personnel line is, slowly going up because it costs more to pay people every year. And we'll see that here in a minute of just how competitive that is. But relatively, our supply and services line holds pretty steady year to year, where we don't really increase it significantly. This is a history of the CPI. So in the last presentation in June, I had a chart that just showed CPI increases. I wanted to just show this one where we compare CPI to our COLA over the years. CPI is in the orange here. You see in 2009, it's down here. CPI has grown by about 40%, 40.5% since 2009. And you see this is where it really took off after COVID, when inflation started ramping up. It started to kind of steady over the past year or so. And then you see our COLA here stayed relatively consistent until about that COVID date when inflation started really taking off. We have not kept all the way up with this, but I will note that in 2023 here is when we did our pay and compensation changes, and we paid about $2 million to make those changes and increases people's salaries beyond the COLA. So, the gap may not be as wide as this shows because we have done that study, but this is the history of that. This is to show just the rising cost of labor nationwide. So if you look from 2009, same date we just looked at before, and this is the start of the financial crisis, and wages stayed relatively flat through this period. They started growing later after it was recovering. COVID hits, and as soon as COVID hits, the market just shoots up with personnel costs and the cost of, and this is just the median salary of full-time workers in the United States. So from 2009 to 2019, the average wage went up about 20%. From 2020 to 2025, in just 5 years, it has beaten that mark and rose about 28%, and that curve has gone steeper. And that's nationwide, but that affects us here in this area, and it affects our city as well, to make sure that we're recruiting and retaining the best we can and staying competitive. This chart's interesting. It shows the citizen to employee ratio in our city. So going back to, and I showed this one at the last meeting as well, but going back to 2009, and the ratio is basically 1 employee per 1,000 residents. So a good ratio that I've read is somewhere between 6 and 12 for a city our size. So you can see we kind of stay right in the middle of that. In 2009, the ratio was 9.17. The recession comes, the ratio starts going down, and then COVID, the ratio goes down again, and we have kind of started recovering from that the past 2 years. We've recovered from that. But also one note with this too is that population from 2020 to now has increased more, almost kind of like the salary chart we were looking at. Our population in Peachtree City has increased by more in the past 5 years. And I'm actually going to show this chart before I say this statement. This is the same chart, and it actually goes all the way back to 2000, just to show kind of, before the recession, it kind of creeps up to here. It stayed consistent though. It stayed between 7.5 and about 8.5, 7.5 to 9 in the whole 25 years of this chart. I mean, it's a pretty consistent line if you average that out. The thing to note here though is that from here to here, the population increased by about 14.1%, and that's over about a 20-year period. The population just in the past 5 to 6 years has increased by 14.7%. So our population in Peachtree City has increased in the past 5 years more than it did in the previous 20. And so our ratio, that's the reason I make this point is because we're serving more and more citizens. As the city grows, we need to be looking at this ratio to make sure that we have enough employees to serve the growth of what's happening in Peachtree City. All right, so this is just a summary for the general fund of what the proposed changes are since the June 5th meeting. The proposed changes is to reduce salary expenses by $642,069. To add a fire training tower to the capital project plan for $387,000. This is important. This is a project that really fire has been asking for how long, Chief Harbin? 20 years. 20 years? Okay. They've been asking for a training tower for 20 years. When we went through the ISO rankings recently, we retained our ISO 1, but it was close. It was, we squeaked by with it. This is one of those things that we get more points for if we have a training tower, but beyond that, really just not talking about points or anything, it is good training. He's explaining it because I want you to comment on this if you need to. This is just good. It's a good piece of equipment to have for your firefighters and to train on.
Best practices.
So we have a burn building that we get points for.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a tower. It's a 4-story tower that we get additional points for that.
Mm-hmm.
We have never had those points.
And you will attach it to the burn building to be able to run exercises between, with both. We're proposing to add one equipment operator position in Public Works for $95,500, which is the one I talked about earlier for dedicated street sweeping. Add additional hours in part-time salaries and code enforcement for $80,000, which is what I talked about with more path enforcement hours. And then add the purchase of 2 golf carts in code enforcement for $30,000, because if we're going to have more hours and have 3 patrols going at once, we need golf carts to put them in. Otherwise, we're going to have them walking on the path, and they may not be very effective.
You won't catch anybody.
So basically, the red here is what we're reducing. The green is what we're adding, and they are going to offset each other, which keeps our bottom line at the same amount. Other funds. Stormwater fund, we went through this on June 5th, but just real quick, No significant operating changes proposed. We're proposing $600,000 in the renewal extension projects, which is pipelining, replacement of pipes. It's the same amount we have budgeted every year that I've been here pretty much. And then you see here that we will be drawing about $200,000 from reserves in stormwater to operate that budget this year. And a key highlight with that is we are, doing a stormwater rate study right now as well, because we have not done anything with that fee since 2013. Yeah. Amphitheater fund, our other enterprise fund. Highlights with the amphitheater is that it is self-sustaining. We're very happy with the amphitheater that it does not run with any subsidies from the general fund. It does pull some from motel tax, which you will see in a minute. But overall, the amphitheater supports itself, and it has for years now. And so we're happy with the amphitheater budget and how it operates. Hotel motel tax. This is that complicated fund that part of it goes to 3.5% of it goes to fund the CVB, which you'll see their budget in August. August, Kelly? Yeah. The general fund, unrestricted funds, we get 3% of that going into the general fund. And then city TPD fund, which part of that, the $75,000, goes to the amphitheater. And then the other parts of it are dedicated to the PAC, to the BMX track, to Meade Fields, and the tennis center. And by the way, this picture here, this is the new Field of Hope, which was the project we finished last year that we're very proud of. All right, capital funds. This is where you see the changes that I've already noted in a previous slide. The fire training tower being added here, 2 park path officer carts being added here. The rest of this is the exact same as it was in the previous presentation. We did get word, Jill told me yesterday that we have been officially awarded this grant. So last time we were assuming we were going to get it, we didn't know, but we'll have to accept the grant, but we have gotten word that we are going to receive that.
That was not for the elevator, that was something else?
This is for the library HVAC, $625, the whole HVAC system. The grant is paying for half of that. All right, another one. So this is some graphs that I showed you all in between the last presentation, and I thought it would be nice to see this today. This is just, since we're talking about capital, we have a vehicle replacement program that we do with all of our departments and divisions. So I really just wanted to kind of go over, how many vehicles. Well, I'm not going to show the exact number of vehicles we have. I don't have that number right here. But what's the percentages of our vehicles, by division? So PD makes up most of our vehicles. They're patrolling, like I said, 24/7, 365. So we have a lot of vehicles in PD. Fire makes up about 12% because they're just sitting at the station. Just kidding, Chief. Public Works about 21% because they are heavily out on our streets, on our paths. And then Public Works also includes our grounds crews that do all our mowing in the right-of-ways. And then you got recreation. Engineering services at 7% is a little deceptive because you would think, why does engineering have 7% of our vehicles? But a part of engineering is our facilities maintenance department and our stormwater department, which go all around the city. And then other here at 4%, that includes code enforcement and includes a vehicle that public communication has. It's kind of just all the other kind of departments that don't really have many vehicles but have a few. This chart is weird when you look at it, but when I explain it, it should make sense. Basically, this is the year model of each vehicle. So, we have a model that's in 1998 in PD. Is it a 98 or a 96, Chief? 98? Something? Yeah. We got some vehicles that are down here still older, than the year 2000, still 90s vehicles. And then this number down here is the number of vehicles. And so each line, this line right here, is the end of PD. So from here to here, these are all the PD vehicles. And you can kind of see, we do 10 PD vehicles each year for the past, 6-7 years now, Chief? And you can see how that cycle has taken effect, where we're on about a 7-year cycle with our PD patrol cars. And then you see we have some older ones here as well. That I know some of the older ones too are used by the auxiliary officers and things like that. From here to here is fire. So you see fire's kind of replacement schedule here. And if you're doing a good vehicle replacement schedule, you should see steps. Like, that's what you should see. You should not see us buying a bunch of vehicles in 1 year, or all of our vehicles being, only 3 years old. Like, you see a step program here. Going over, this is Public Works. Their oldest is down here, and then all the way up to here, you see the steps here with Public Works as well. Recreation, you see steps. Engineering, which is stormwater facilities maintenance, you see the steps here. And then this is our other vehicles here. And the new ones you see here, these 3 right here, that was code enforcement. And then we've done 2 here as well. So this graph, it's weird, but when you look at it, it makes sense. And it shows what it should show is the step with this maintenance program and replacement. All right, other capital outlay, just to highlight this real quick, going to ARP. This should be the last time y'all see this. You've seen it for a few years now. But the American Rescue Plan that was done by the federal government during COVID, we had until the end of last year to allocate this money. We have until the end of 2026 to spend it. But we think we're going to be done with that fairly soon. And all of these projects that we have allocated for are either completed or in process. Other capital funds, impact fees. We went over this last time as well. And impact fees are fees we get from new development in Peachtree City, commercial, industrial, residential, whatever, we get impact fees. Our impact fees, $3.8 million is our current balance in cultural recreation. That name is kind of deceptive as well, because the $3.8 million, in the way we've structured it with the state, is we can only exclusively spend that pot on paths, on new extensions of paths. So it cannot be used for repaving old paths. It can only be used to supplement building new paths. Fire department, $258,000 balance, and then police is down at 0, and that's because we purchased the gun range recently and used all of our impact fees in police to help purchase that building. Kelly, you want to talk about the 5-year model? This was your one. It's the one I was going to pitch over to you. Are you on?
I don't think I am. Am I on now?
I think so.
Okay.
No.
It's hasn't changed. Well, what you're seeing hasn't changed. It will change a little because our transfers out will be transfers going to capital, where we're doing the fire training tower instead of salaries. And but at the end of the day, we're starting out with $34.6 million in fund balance. Our revenues and our expenditures are balanced at $58,406,380. We're not proposing to use or put any money into fund balance. Our fund balance would be at 59%, which is about 7 months of expenditures. And then going out, because it is a 5-year model, I've just projected a 3% growth year over year. You can see that in next year, though, I have built in debt service on a facilities authority bond, possibly for some of our larger capital projects.
Which could be, that's the 1.064 you see right here. That could be, this is just a model, so if it is decided by council we want to do a facilities bond sooner, if we've got projects ready to go, that could be moved up into this year as well. But we did not do that in the budget as of right now. All right, this is my last little section here, and I always like to go through this. But what does it cost to live in Peachtree City, and what do you get for your money? So if you look at Peachtree City versus the other municipalities in Fayette County, you will see that our millage rate is the highest municipal millage rate in Fayette County at 5.983, with Fayetteville close to us at 5.646. Tyrone and Brooks both a significant amount lower. The reason for that, and you're going to see that in the next few charts, is because we provide direct services that Tyrone, Brooks, and even Fayetteville do not provide to their citizens. And it kind of balances out with how much the county is charging these municipalities with their millage rates. So if you actually look at it, when you add in county services and county millage rates, you see that Tyrone actually becomes the highest millage rate city in Fayette County because they rely on fire and EMS services from the county, which we do not. So the yellow here, when you add that, that's actually paying the county M&O, which is what everybody pays to the county. That's for your judicial stuff with the county, the jail, the sheriff's department, even though we have our own police. But the sheriff is kind of the law enforcement of the county, and so everybody pays into that. And interestingly, though, for Tyrone, they rely on, when you get to these red and peach bars, they rely on the county for fire and for EMS. Fayetteville just has their own fire, so they just pay the EMS tax, which does put them up above us in millage. And then, of course, Brooks relies on them as well, and then the unincorporated areas of the county rely on them as well. So when you actually put all those things together, we actually have a lower millage rate than both Tyrone and Fayetteville. So then you add in the big chunk of the Board of Education. So the reason I do this chart is because once you add in the Board of Education, it's kind of hard to distinguish these bars down here, and that just shows how big a chunk the Board of Education costs each taxpayer. Not saying that's a negative or positive, it just, the Board of Education has a very high millage. So when you add those all together, the difference between Tyrone and the unincorporated areas of the city is really not that significant of an amount. And especially, Tyrone and Fayetteville both above 30. We're at about 29.5 this year. And so where do my property taxes go if I'm a Peachtree City resident living in an average value house of about $508,000? Your total taxes due would be about $6,000. Right off the top, $4,000 of that, $4,000 of the $6,000 is going to the Board of Education. About $1,200 is coming to Peachtree City, $765 going to the county, and then $42 is going to operate our county E911 center. One last thing, I want to go back to this one. The county this year is keeping their M&O rate at the same level as the past few years they've had it, but they are increasing their it's either their fire or EMS, I can't remember which one, but one of them is doubling. One of them is going from 0.5 to 1 mils. So the county is doing an increase on one of their millage rates this year as well, which does not affect our citizens because we provide fire and EMS. So it's increasing for Tyrone, Fayetteville, Brooks, and the county, not for us because we don't get taxed that millage. Our citizens don't see that. Okay. What do you get to live in Peachtree City? I do want to point this out at the top. If you actually compare us to the unincorporated part of Fayette County and then Woolsey, which is an incorporated city, but they don't have a millage rate, so they pay the same as just an unincorporated resident. It costs about $41 per month to live in Peachtree City as opposed to the unincorporated areas of Fayette County. What do you get for that extra $41? You get an ISO 1 fire department. You get a premier EMS service, which we've always said, or I've always said, if you have a heart attack in Fayette County, you want to be here because your chances of survival with us are probably a lot higher than anywhere else in the county. We got great parks, recreation areas, facilities, events, and year-round swimming. I think our parks are really well known throughout the area for their quality. We have a premier public library that is number 2 in circulation in the state in the Pine system. We have a 100-plus mile multi-use path that the county absolutely does not have, much less Tyrone or Fayetteville. They have paths, but they do not have what we have. We do the neighborhood and median maintenance for over 200 of our neighborhoods directly with city taxes. And then we also have a CALEA Advanced Certified Police Department, which is also one of the best in the state, if not the nation, and one of the safest communities to live in Georgia, if not the nation. So, and just to go over a few stats as well, this is, with our budget, what are our citizens really getting out of that? What are we doing? What are we taking care of? Well, we have over 40,000 citizens now. We've got over 14,000 households in our city. We do have a staff of a little over 380 employees. We've got 87 city buildings we take care of with over 400,000 square feet. We've got over 1,000 vehicles and pieces of equipment. We do not have over 1,000 vehicles. We have about 200-something vehicles, but with equipment, we have about over 1,000 that we maintain ourselves through our staff and our fleet department. Over almost 5,000 traffic signs in the city that we maintain, 200 miles of streets, 100 miles of paths, 95 miles of pipe underground, just stormwater pipe, 8,000 drainage structures, 100 detention ponds, and those are all public detention ponds that we maintain, 29 tunnels, 48 bridges, over 40 parks, fields, and rec areas, which always blows my mind for a city of our size to have that many parks, fields, and rec areas. We own 2,650 acres of non-right-of-way, 398 acres of right-of-way. We have over 80 landscape islands we take care of, and like I said, over 200, almost 300 neighborhood entrances, 280 neighborhoods that we take care of. And an interesting stat, y'all have heard it from me before too, is with that 2,650 acres that we own as a city and our right-of-way, like all that put together, we own about 16% of the land in the city is owned by the city itself. And I think that, goes back to the planning of the city as well, though. That's intentional because we want certain land in the city to be protected and to be natural space. This is my last slide, I promise. So for me as the manager, when I think about, what do we need to do to continue as a city to have uncompromised excellence and to be Peachtree City, to maintain what we are, we need to keep our employee pay at the 85th percentile. We need to be the employer of choice. We don't need to be desperate for employees. We need people to want to work here and choose us. We need the best employees to want to be here. We need to encourage smart economic development. We need to invest in safety, our personnel, and our infrastructure. We need to keep investing in our maintenance, not sacrifice our service levels, as stated before. Keep utilizing our new citizen groups that we've formed. Tie our budget process to those strategic pillars. Continue programs with our citizens like PTC 101, our summer intern program, and also our slice of the cities that we go around to each village and do. We need to make sure that we're executing our SPOS 2023 projects. You just approved one today to execute. We just applied for the SS4A grant, which is through the federal government. We applied for some of our PATH projects for SS4. Hopefully we will get that grant to help us fund some of these PATH projects. Ordinance and policy updates, that's more on you as a council, but I think it's important that we make sure our ordinances and policies make sense for our current time and our current place where we are in the city. And then continue engaging GDOT on our state highways, which is always a point of contention in our city, is our state highways and traffic. So continuing our relationship with GDOT and engaging them. For our budget calendar, last month we had our June 5th proposal reveal. We're doing the public hearing today, and then as we move forward, the actual adoption, we are asking for that on August 21st, and hopefully we will have the digest from the county by then to also adopt the millage rate at the same meeting. And I believe that's my presentation.
All right, thank you. With that, we're going to move into the public hearing. Can I get a show of hands to see if there's anybody who wishes to speak in favor? I see one. The reason I ask is we have 10 minutes per side, and I just want to know where we will fall in that. If there, at this time, I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor? Please come to the microphone. Good morning.
Madam Mayor and Council, I'm Paul Schultz. I live in the McIntosh Corner subdivision. I want to say thank you to Justin for putting together a comprehensive, detailed, and most importantly, I think, believable budget for the coming year. I went through the presentation last night. I went into the detailed pages to take a look at the budget. There's a lot of detail. I think it's, and I appreciate the complete and full transparency. If there's facts and figures you want, you can go get them. And if there's not a mystery coming into the budget. I just had a few comments that I think I'd like to emphasize as I go through. So obviously, it was on the slide, right? 44.9% of the general fund comes from property taxes, right? The local option sales tax, another 22.1. That ends up being 24.1 million total of the general fund. Police, fire, EMT, all the folks that you want to have show up and you can't really thrift that kind of budget, right? When there's a fire, and we saw that this morning, you want people to show up. 27.3. So simply our property taxes in one way or another directly cover police, fire, and EMT. I think that's an important point to make. And then Public Works is another 7.5 million on top of that. So where do our property taxes go? Our property taxes go to the most valuable things that Peachtree City does, maintaining our city and keeping us safe. Looking at the detailed headcount breakdown, I think it's reasonable based on by department, taking a look at it. I work for Panasonic, taking a look at, in comparison, how big are individual HR, accounting, things like that, other companies I've worked for. I'm just going to make some comments and some suggestions about the budget going forward. The Safe Streets for All, I think we can emphasize that one of the good things the city does is goes and gets money from other places, right? And continuing, and I understand you have a member of your staff that reviews ability to get grants, and please keep doing that. I'm a little concerned about the debt on the facilities bond. We're taking on some debt. It's not much relative to the total budget, but I think it can be reasonable. I see there's a pension fund. Just some concern as businesses, entities go towards having employee-funded retirement. What are our ongoing pension fund obligations vis-a-vis people living longer, things like that? I'm sure that's part of the consideration. I was initially against a 60% reserve that the city is holding on to. I thought that should be bled down a little bit, probably 50%. But given the current fiscal status of our country, there's no more, in my opinion, large amount of bailout funds that are coming to anyone in the country. The federal government has way too much debt in the future, and the ability to recover from crises will fall on us as a city. So I think 60% is very reasonable. I would like to make a suggestion for future presentations, combining the drop in the millage rate, but also taking a look at what the assessed value is. Because at the end of the day, we don't pay the millage rate, we pay the assessed value times the millage rate. So seeing where that goes. And I also want to say thank you much for highlighting the advisory groups also, because we're there to provide input to the city so that citizen voices can make what we think is important in the city heard. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor?
Good morning, Mayor and City Council. Keith Larson, Sandown Creek. I'd like to compliment the city staff for doing a thorough job in preparing this year's budget. I would like to point out two things that I've been watching over the last 10, 15 years that I've been actively watching this process in Peachtree City. First, steady state. A lot of people make comments in social media about things that they think is awry or amiss or something under a rock that suddenly slides out into the public specter and now it's in the budget. And I don't see that. I see our city committed to goals of excellence, committed to delivering services that they're the expectations of our residents, and looking at the most frugal approach that every penny counts, that we make it go as far as it can, and when we can't, we find other means of doing it. And so and that's innovation. So I like to compliment the city staff for working hard on the innovation, as also council and mayor for pointing out opportunities that you see from your perspective and feedback that you get from residents. On that innovation note, I would like to point, it's not all steady state, it's 99%. But today we heard about the other 1%, and that's responsiveness. Responsive to changes in the city. Responsive to things that we have missed for years, like concern about disabilities and accessibility, and now we're addressing that. Things like deferred maintenance that was not accounted for, now being accounted for, now being included in a programmatic and pragmatic way, leading to future, hopefully, reductions in unexpected maintenance repairs. And I think that's great. And then safety, not only from our police department and our emergency services, but also our number one amenity, the pass system. How are we responding to and being present on the system? And we see that the city has consecutively grown since the 2021 Multi-Use Pass System Advisory Group about putting more people on the pass system, more city employees to be responsive respectfully and help encourage good behavior. So thank you for this budget, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the city can improve in the future.
Thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I hereby close the public hearing. Council, any last comments? We will not be voting.
Yep, I have one comment. I am so glad to see that we've improved and added to the budget. Yes, it's a cost to add to it for park and path people, the code enforcement that's out there. I experience a lot of that. You've heard me talk about it before. I don't like being run off the paths by people. So putting out code enforcement on the paths is certainly a step in the right direction, and they have the right to put citations out there. So we want to make sure that we, be courteous to everybody when you're on the path system. And I'm on it pretty much every day, but I can tell you, I like to make sure that all of the citizens here in this city are courteous when they're on the path system.
Okay, any other comments?
I'm going to echo that. I hope the citizens understand that by us enhancing and getting 2 more golf carts to put out on the path system, it's going to allow code enforcement people to expand where they can actually travel to within the city. So instead of staying predominantly around the Peachtree, Lake Peachtree, they're going to be able to go up on the north side and down on the south side and do further away. I think that that's been areas that needed more attention. And by having it done by part-time code enforcement people with a couple of golf carts, it puts more eyes out there on the park or on the path system. If there's one thing that we have on a regular basis coming to us as concerns in emails and people stopping and talking to us, lately it seems to be a big focus on everything that's going on the path. Yeah. People are speeding, they're being rude, they're running me off the road, they're not stopping, they're calling me names, they're shooting ice pellets. Mm-hmm. A lot of complaints. These things need to be looked at, and the best way to do that is to have more eyes and ears out there on the path who have just enough authority to, put forth, citations, et cetera. And it's much more cost effective for us to do that with code enforcement people on golf carts than to try to add police officers to do it. So this is a way that we were able to put forth something that can constructively be done very quickly to hopefully address an issue that people are bringing to us on a regular basis. So.
Okay. Councilmember Johnson, any comments?
It's just interesting that this is what your comments are about, because this is really what I wrote about as well. So I appreciate the comments that we've had about this, but I was also curious if staff could just expound, because I feel as citizens we see code enforcement driving around. I know I see them when I'm on the paths. Can we expound just a little bit more to give information as far as what are they really doing? A lot of times we see them driving and observing, but when we're talking about the authority of what they're able to do and give citations, can we expound just so our citizens will know the value in adding these?
Yeah, the biggest difference between them and Chief, you may have to correct me. The biggest difference between them and a police officer is they can really only enforce our city ordinances. They can't enforce, which is our pass system. Our ordinances apply to the pass system. They can't enforce state law. They cannot, I don't know if I want to say this because then people will know. they could not technically stop people. They can ask them to stop, but they cannot force them to stop like a police officer. They can write them citations for violations of our ordinance. They can write warnings as well. And then a lot of times what we found with the officers that we do have patrolling, we have 2 shifts every day for 5 hours apiece. So they are part-timers that work 5-hour shifts, 2 a day. And they mainly stay around, the one we have right now mainly stays around the middle of the city part because these paths are the busiest paths in the city. By the way, I want to apologize. I'm sorry. I was up till about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning because I have a new niece, and I was waiting on my wife to get home from the hospital to make sure she got home, and so that's why I've kind of been a little scatterbrained because I didn't get much sleep. But anyway, so they stick mainly in this area, and so like you all said, if we get 2 more carts, we can actually have someone dedicated to the north side of the city, dedicated to the south side of the city. And what we found too is when they're around here, beyond just enforcement or citations or actually educating people, when they'll stop people and explain things to them. They have the brochures, they'll hand them out to people. They actually help people too. I mean, we've found cases where our code enforcement officers have actually taken people home. They've had a cart that's broken down, they'll take them home.
Bicycle accidents.
Yeah, and they've helped people push their carts, out of the way, out of the path. So they actually have done community service type things as well beyond just enforcement. So I think they have been very helpful. Just the one we've had the past 5-6 years has been very helpful in what it does, and I think expanding the program to where we can cover more of the pass system beyond just enforcement, which will be great, but also just to help our citizens as well along the pass system.
So in the past, when I think we've discussed this, it's been mentioned that they have walkie-talkies where they're available to speak with our police department. Is that correct?
They can call you guys.
So in the need of additional help, they have that as a resource, right?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. All right. Thank you. That's all
Did
my
I misspeak
questions.
at all, Chief? Did I say anything wrong? Okay.
Any other comments, Council? No. All right. With that, Council staff topics. I'll go first. The Convention and Visitors Bureau has a new Visit Peachtree City document out, and it is gorgeous. This is amazing work, and I'm so proud of our CVB for the new logo, the new materials, and just a whole new look. I love it. Council staff topics?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about deer again. And I'm sure Chris is going to perk up over there. I got another reach out to me from somebody who's already spoken to us about the deer situation here in Peachtree City. And apparently, and I encouraged him because he could not come today to speak, I encouraged him to write to the rest of you, which he did. But he had 2 confrontations with a very aggressive deer in his front yard, trying to get between his car and his house, to the point where he had to throw a 5-gallon bucket at the deer to keep her away. And so, and we all know she probably has a fawn somewhere nearby. She was probably protecting her fawn. But one of the things that he brought forward is that we have a lot of people, and I've seen this happen, and I'm sure you've seen it happen. We have a lot of people who are feeding the deer. And this is a problem because in addition to not knowing if this deer is coming at you because she's got a fawn and she's just protecting her fawn, you don't know if she's coming at you because she thinks you're a source of food and you're going to feed her or give her something. So, or him, because it could be the bucks too. But, what he suggested was, can we put an ordinance in place to ban feeding the deer? And I'd love to say that's a great and wonderful idea, but enforcing it would be absolutely impossible. So, and I did tell him that. So, what I'm really trying to do here is appeal to everybody. Please stop feeding the deer. We have an incredible overpopulation problem here in Peachtree City. We've already addressed it. We've changed the ordinances. We're now able to do archery hunting. We've done a survey. We're going to be reviewing that in the next few weeks with regard to the deer population on city property and potentially opening up hopefully, I'm going to press for this, opening up hunting opportunities for people on the city property to reduce the overall deer population in the city. We know from last quarter of 2024, 102 deer were killed on our streets. That's more than one a day in 3 months, one a day. So we do have a problem. We're trying to address it. And I really want to, at this point today, appeal to everybody. Please stop feeding the deer. It's bad enough that they eat my hydrangeas. You don't need to give them corn grain. You know, they'll make a buffet out of everything around your house. Don't entice them to come to your house and put out feed. If you have neighbors that are feeding the deer, if you feel comfortable talking to them, please discourage them from doing it, because it does make the deer think we're the source of food, and that just changes the whole dynamic of how you relate with your deer in your backyard. So the other thing I'd like to stress is archery season starts on September 14th. So get your licenses and get ready. The extended hunting season lasts from September the 14th until into January of 2026. So
Anything else?
That's it.
Councilmember Johnson?
I know we talked about the parade and we handed out awards. I just want to give a personal thank you. It's one of my favorite days of the year that we experience here in Peachtree City, so thank you for all of the staff. We've heard for years the desire from our residents to have a band. I know Jasmine Julio was able to reach out and secure that band, which I've heard nothing but praises about from our citizens since then. So a shout out to her and thank you. I have a personal friend who is also very enthusiastic about her love that she has for Peachtree City and how we celebrate the 4th of July here. I received a personal text for her just for how outstanding this year was. So thank you to all of you.
Thank you. Mr. Holland?
I think I've said my piece, but I do want to just add one more thing. The numbers that you put up in the budget, and I love the idea that basically if you want to live in Peachtree City, from a tax standpoint, you pay $1.25 a day to live in Peachtree City and get a little bit better services, opportunities, recreation, etc.
Quality of life.
And quality of life, thank you. I'll tell you, that's a pretty cheap way to enjoy a wonderful city like Peachtree City. So compliments to you, Mr. City Manager, for putting together that budget. So in that respect, that's the last comment I have.
All right, thank you. Do we, yes, yes.
Harold, go say plug your thing. We have one event coming up that Harold texted me about. I'm letting him come up to plug it.
Yeah. It's going to be a pretty great event. Monday night at 6 o'clock at Drake Field, we will have a home run derby night. We're going to have a big screen TV on the plaza in front of the pavilion that we will be broadcasting the home run derby from Truist Park. We are also going to paint a couple of wiffle ball fields on the field at Drake Field that the kids will be able to play wiffle ball during the game. We'll have chairs, we're going to have vendors, food trucks. It's going to be a great event. It starts at 6 o'clock Monday evening.
Fantastic.
Look forward to seeing everybody there.
Thank you.
All right.
Anything else, Justin?
Nope.
Do we have executive session?
We do, Mayor, but before that, I know I rarely make a council staff topic, but the last time I did, it was to praise our rec department and our public works employees for the quality of our recreation facilities. So I found it ironic that I'm going to say the same thing, only it's from somebody else. I was talking to another city attorney this week, and they brought up, by the way, I was down in Peachtree City, and your rec fields are as good as you will see anywhere. They have a younger child that's playing baseball, and he was just amazed at the pack and the quality of everything. So I just wanted to give kudos to staff. I know it's like an old broken record because I did the same thing personally, but I wanted to pass that along to you guys.
And we, to add to that, we've now been approached, right, Chris? We've been approached by U.S. Soccer because they want to be able to partner for use of our wonderful fields, and that's what it's all about.
Now, yes, we do have an executive session to discuss real estate and pending or threatened litigation.
Can I get a motion?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we adjourn to executive session for real estate and pending or threatened litigation.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are now in executive